Hello guys, welcome back to Money Sense with Miss T. My name is Tendo Dlo and I am your financial coach. And on today's episode, very excited. We just, I think, wrapping up the relocation series. So this is part 3 where we are answering very simple questions, but questions that have actually made me sit back and really reflect and have conversations with a lot of you guys who have relocated, some who have actually gone back home, and some who are choosing to stay. And on today's episode, I am going to attempt to respond to the questions along the lines of when am I coming back to Johannesburg? Miss T, England, come back home. You can have your big car and your big house and even have 5 helpers if you wanted to. And guys, the answer to that is sure. I so wish I would love to, but I feel like I have tasted certain privileges, and I think staying a little bit longer will actually even afford us the opportunity to taste the privileges in full by naturalizing, right? That is becoming a permanent resident, and even better, becoming a British citizen and being a holder of the British passport. And on today's episode, I will be exploring some of the benefits or the merits that come with being a British passport holder. Hey, before we continue, please do not forget, guys, to subscribe and let me know in the comment section the areas of this video that really resonate with you. And I'm actually even more open to things that you disagree with. Happy to engage with you guys at all levels. And I really want to say, guys, sometimes I know pushing that subscription button may be a simple act on your end, but I want you to know that it means the absolute world to me. When you subscribe, it means the channel is growing, it means it's reaching more people, and again, it encourages me to continue pouring my heart and pouring the knowledge that I am also learning in this process and sharing it with you guys. All right, back to the British passport, right? What is the big deal about, being a holder of a British passport? I actually saw a few unboxing videos a few years ago on YouTube where people were unboxing the British passport. You know how we unbox our LV, our Gucci, Dondoni luxury items? Apparently, a British passport, well, actually, even a Singaporean passport is considered, a luxury good that is worthy of unboxing, right? And I think now when you guys actually asked these questions, and I mean, I've been getting these questions every other year, why we are choosing to stay and when we are actually considering coming back home. And I think only now I actually decided that, you know what, let me sit back and really assess the merits of this decision to stay until we naturalize or stay until we actually get the British passport. And I think the initial one is the fact that we feel that we've already invested so much money and time. So I've already lived here for 3 years. Number one, we've also already paid a lot of money where visas are concerned for me to be here. So already the investment is up there, right? And I'm just left with just under 3 years until I naturalize. So I just feel like it's worth waiting, unless I don't know what opportunity can cause me to pack my bags right now and leave, right? But yeah, I think where we are at right now, that's where we're at really in terms of the investment that we have put in. And also, guys, in our family, ne? I am the only one who is not a British citizen. So my son is a British citizen, my husband is a British citizen, all of my in-laws are British citizens. And this becomes very important when discussions are had around which holiday destination to go to, because people here travel with ease because they are holders of British passports, and that's something that I'm going to talk about in a bit. But yeah, so those are the 2 reasons why we are deciding to stay on a little bit longer as opposed to coming back home immediately. Now let's go through some of the benefits that come with being a British passport holder, right? Trying to answer the question, why the investment? Why are we staying a little bit longer? Why are we enduring some of the discomforts that I have openly talked about, even though some of them may, I think, in the broader scheme of things, or in light of, long-term benefits, it's really small things. And the first one, in no particular order, is global mobility. So when you are a holder of this document, you can access 189 countries visa-free. So no bureaucratic issues, time, as well as money implications that come with visiting these countries. You can basically enter these countries visa-free, right? Visa-free, or on arrival, you can actually get your visa, right? Which makes travel a little bit more easier, right? Which is probably why also, if you think about the countries that we decide to visit as South African passport holders, we mostly, or we are incentivized to go to the countries where we don't have to apply for a visa, because no one wants to be filling out documents. Well, not no one, but most people don't want that administrative burden that comes with applying for visas, which is why, we will gladly go to the Dubais, we will gladly go to your Balis, your Thailands, and your some parts of, South America and stuff. So yeah, I think that's a great plus when your passport can actually give you access to more countries visa free. And I think, just to also give you a better perspective of what this looks like on a global scale, I'm going to just read a few stats from the Henley Passport Index that basically shows you how powerful your passport is in terms of global mobility, right? And right at the top is Singapore. The Singapore passport gives you access to 193 countries visa free. And then the UK, the United Kingdom, is sitting at number 4 with 189 countries visa free, which is great, which is actually quite impressive. And the US is 7 with 186. I think most people also like or the idea of becoming American citizens. And then the UAE is ranks at number 14, which then gives you access to 179 countries visa free. And then I'm just scrolling up until I get to Saudi, our land. Agere. South African passport gives you access. So we rank on the global listing at number 54, and we have access to 107 countries that we can go and visit visa free. And I think I want to stop there. I don't want to go any further, but that's just a perspective of, what your passport can do for you where travel is concerned, especially if you're someone who wants to travel either for leisure or for work. And I think I see it now more than ever, because I'm the only one in the family who does not have a British passport. So my son has a British passport, my husband has a British passport, and my in-laws, all of them are British citizens. And when it comes to, talking about, destinations to go to, when they are considering the countries to go to, they're not thinking visa, they're not thinking long queues, they're not thinking, having to lose out on work hours to just go and queue and submit documents where sometimes they even ask you to display the color of your intestines, because we need to trust that you're going to leave the country that you are visiting. They don't worry about those things. The only things they're worried about is buying the flight ticket and booking accommodation, right? And I think that's awesome. That's great. And then the other thing, when it comes to work, now that I'm dabbling entrepreneurship and formal employment, is sometimes I've seen, in most instances actually, especially with this program that I'm doing with NatWest, one of the biggest banks in the UK, where they will be advertising conferences that are happening, say, in Switzerland or in Sweden. And, for citizens, it's such an easy transaction because it's not far. Also, it's not expensive to just to just buy a return ticket if you don't really want to invest in staying there overnight. Such an easy thing to just fly in and out of the country and not have to worry about matters of visa, and supporting documents and having to pay, right? And I think the other thing that really gets to me is that every time I think of now going, let's say, to these European countries. I was in Paris in April, and the only reason I went there was because I was supposed to have been in Paris the year before to meet a friend. Knox was working in Paris, and I wanted to see her. But by the time my visa came out, she had already left the country. So I had to then force a trip to go to Paris so that I at least evidence that I used the visa to the French embassy. Do you get what I'm saying? But the only reason I did that was so that I can get that stamp because the passport, or rather the visa, was expiring. Now, August and September, I saw a few trips that I wanted to go to in Europe. And again, I was just thinking, and then I must go through the process again of applying and wasting work time, and also spending a lot of money to move from city to city, depending on where the appointments are, just to get just to get this visa. And then the embassy tells you that no, the visa will be 3 months or 6 months. So very discouraging. But yeah, I think I will just accept that this is the season I am in, and I will wait until I get my dark blue document num. The other benefits that comes with being a British passport holder is the fact that we can live here in this country. We can come in and out of this country for the rest of our lives freely, right? But on top of that, because we will obviously be living here, we don't necessarily have to now keep reapplying to be able to work, like is the case now. I need a work permit in order to work in this country. And if I wanted to study again, I would also need to then apply for a study permit. But also, once I've got this, the citizenship, what I like and appreciate, and I think, again, it's a personal benefit, is the fact that I want to study something. I've always said I've visited Oxford and I've visited Cambridge, and every single time I am in those cities, I'm just like, but a person must be a graduate in these institutions. I absolutely love them. I don't know what I want to study. I am actually dabbling between an MBA. I don't know if I really want to study an MBA, but I really want to study something. I want to be a student of one of those prestigious universities. For what? I don't know at this point in time. I just want to graduate from Oxford or from Cambridge, okay? And I think right now, as it stands, very expensive. But once I become a British citizen, I know that I'll also have access to the, what do you call this? To the financial aid, like is the case with, no, I can't even compare it to NFSAS. No, I would be able to have access to financial aid so that it's easier, or not, yeah, so that it's easier and manageable to go to school and not have to have a very big bill, or have to have a scholarship in order for me to study what I want to study. All right, access to public funds. So on my permit, right, at the back of my permit, it specifically says in bold writing that I am not eligible, to receive public funds in this company. And the public funds that I really, really need, and the public funds that I really, really want and would love to have access to as a business owner, as a startup owner, is access to business grants, which I know some of our friends who are British citizens, it's such a straightforward process of applying for these grants and getting them, obviously provided that you have a viable business, you have identified a problem, and the solution is speaking properly to the problem, right? And I think, again, it's another incentive. It's something that's also driving the decision, not heavily driving the decision to stay the course until we get to a place where we are holders of the British passport. Okay, next on our list is free healthcare. And I know I've said there's nothing for free. And even in this case, it's not really free because it's government funded. So if you are employed, you are paying for it through the tax system. Yeah. And I think it's nicer when you're a citizen because maybe you're not paying double, right? You're paying it through the taxes as an employed person, and also paying it through your visa costs, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's great. And I think in the first episode of the relocation series, I touched on how I really experienced public healthcare in this country. Like, incredible. From the day I learned that I was pregnant up until Kai turned one, right? Because I mean, for the first year, the child needs to be jabbed and stuff. So great healthcare system where moms and children are concerned. But I think the other side of a public health system is that somewhere in between, when it comes to the not so serious and not so urgent things, you sort of have to wing it. So really, if it's not an emergency and if it's not like high up there in terms of, you know, being an issue that needs to be attended to, like major surgeries and major treatments, chances are you're going to have to use home remedies. So if it's a flu and you are hoping that you're going to get an antibiotic every time you get a cold, it's not going to happen. You are probably going to have to rely on what do you call this, home remedies, like we did during the COVID season. So that is what I've experienced, and I think a lot of parents, us personally, are actually even feeling that the need to now enlist the services of private healthcare, because sometimes you really feel like you need medical attention, and it's not always the case that they're going to prioritize your case, because on the case of priorities, according to them as a public health care system, it might not be that serious or that major, right? But overall, I think I think it's great, right? And then lastly, on my list of the things that I think just appealed to me in terms of benefits of having a British passport is you can pass the citizenship to your children even if they were not born here. And let me explain. I think also I think it's a great time to actually even explain why my son and my husband are both citizens and I'm not, right? So it is said that you can't buy a British citizenship. You sort of have to serve. So in that way, by virtue of being my husband's wife, that did not qualify me to then automatically then take on, you know, his status in the country. I also have to serve the number of years that he also served in order for him to get to a place where he's now a British citizen. But the way in which our son got the citizenship was because of the status of one of the parents, which in this case was him. So because he was a citizen by the time he was born, he was able then to get the citizenship status also. But if he was born and none of us were either permanently resident in this country, or we were not, or we did not have, or we were not British citizens, he would have not taken on the status of being a British citizen, even though he was born here. I know in America, by the time I left, if you were born in America, you are American, even if your parents are not necessarily American. So yeah, so I think that's exciting to know that if I am a British citizen, my children will take on that citizenship, and I think it's a great thing to have more than one citizenship. Yes. So yeah, guys, I hope this helps you also, if you are considering, if you are battling, you know, between staying a little bit longer or going home. This video helps you. I know it also helps me to just, you know, keep the big picture and the perspective in sight. And I think also doing this video really helped me or rather reminded me of the value of this investment, the value of being here at this point in time. And please, guys, let me know in the comment section which part of the video resonated with you. Let me know if you are already here and you want to stay, or let me know if you want to really leave as soon as possible. I'd like to hear that, and I'd like to hear the reasons for that. And please remember to subscribe and push on that notification bell so that whenever I release videos, I am actually not as consistent, with uploading videos like, the YouTubers who have been in the game, for long. And I want to get to a place where, every other day, every once a week on a Wednesday, I want to be that person who, what do you call it, drops an installment. But for now, because things are a bit here and there, it would be valuable for you guys to put on that notification bell so that when the video does drop, you are the first person to know. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for your continued support. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end. Really appreciate it. See you next time. Bye.